8 days after Carney makes a deal with Beijing, Trump is angry. He once again calls Carney governor, and he once again invokes the typical anti China fear and propaganda. China will eat you up. China's got a different social fabric. Be scared of China. Most importantly, this response comes after Carney's speech at Davos, where he showed the world that perhaps the pen is mightier than the sword. But is it? This is a playful AI comic someone Canadian made it, and I do think it's funny. But what I am seeing is America is saying, hey, I know words are nice and the pen is mighty, but you know we have a giant stick, right? You know we have the biggest stick in the room. You know we have the most military bases in the world. You want to keep talking? You should be keeping us happy, just like the Taiwanese are. The Taiwanese leader is spinning it to his people that us forcing TSMC to invest in Arizona is good for Taiwan. That's how you should be behaving as a middle power. Do you know how much money and strategy we have spent to contain China? This 1.6 billion, this is just a fraction. And I can see Canadians are tired of the apologies. You can stuff your sorries in a sack, mister, says George Costanza. You can see this comment has 879 likes, but 325 replies. That ratio gives me a sense that if you open it up, there will be plenty of people who are saying, well, there's a lot of people who support Trump, and there's an administration that supports Trump. So it's not so simple as just saying, oh, it's just Trump. He'll go away in a few years. Don't worry. We're sorry. I believe it has been proven that there is foreign funding going into Alberta separatism. Money, money, money. It's all money in this money world. Money doesn't sleep. And while good people are talking about morals and ethics, people are also working tirelessly for more money and more influence. And they're not listening to you talk about morals and ethics. That's the world, yin and yang. Here's a nice little tongue-in-cheek from Nuri Vitachi, Hong Kong-based journalist, for you to read. If you want to read, you can pause it. A Canadian Wayne asks, why are you all so afraid of China? Honestly, it's ridiculous. China's not the one threatening to annex us. Why are there still Maple MAGA who are bowing down to Trump? Well, again, it's decades of anti-China propaganda. And it goes very deep. Movies, media, radio, print, magazines. Okay, even like a show like Succession, a very brilliant show. There are always key moments where they bring up certain topics to show that China is scary. And that's the video for today. I highly encourage people to create content because if you consume too much content and you just scroll, it's really easy to get depressed or anxious. So create some content, you know. If you don't do anything, they'll make fun of you. If you do something, they'll make fun of you. So just do something if you want. So with that said, I will leave you with some clips from Succession, and I will leave you with a clip of Americans who go to China and share their lived experience, and then they come back and they called bots. They're called anti-China propagandists. Propaganda, by definition, means it's untruthful or there's omissions of truth. So propaganda, by definition, is not reality. It's not truth. It's lies. So a person's first-hand experience cannot be propaganda. But we live in 2026 where words are funny.
Okay, that's what you're offering me. Very exciting. I'm sure your rig guards are all, ready to come round up the thought criminals through police stations and the cuddle puddles.
So,
Where should we go?
which way to Chairman Matson's re-education camp?
Taxi. It's next stop.
Okay, I'm very curious to see what responses I get to this, but people have been commenting on all of my personal China experience videos, calling it propaganda. Is everyone else misusing the word propaganda, or do I not understand what it means? Because in my experience, I'm sharing my lived experience, and the viewer may think it's an uninformed opinion. However, I have been traveling to and living in China on and off for the last 13 years. I studied, at a formal university, I studied Chinese culture, anthropology, like history, the language. Like, I have read the old books and the old poetry. And I'm not saying I know everything because I didn't major in like politics, political science. I know that. But I also just got back from living in China for 2 years and I speak Chinese. So I also had conversations with people. So me expressing my opinion, my lived experience, is not propaganda because I'm not pushing an opinion on it to anyone. I am simply sharing my experience and perhaps providing a perspective that people don't see. You know what I mean? I guess my question is, like, am I misusing the word propaganda? Like, am I actually posting propaganda? Because in my opinion, I'm not.
I've been back in the US for a couple of days now after a year of living in China. One of the biggest things that I've noticed is just how mindlessly vicious people are towards China in general, especially people who have never been there, don't know anything about it. Immediate default reaction is negative, very condescending, very dismissive. It just really strikes me because I don't really know where it comes from. It's an amalgamation of a lot of different influences over the course of your entire life. Even in very hyper liberal places like Los Angeles, where people are well-traveled, they're open-minded, they like immigrants, they like people from other countries. You start talking about mainland China, ooh, just astounded at how immediate people are to dismiss it. And they kind of like assume you are too, even if I'm living there. They're like, oh, how's living in China? Oh, it's really great. And they're like, really? It strikes me now just how immediate the fear, the antagonism towards Chinese people, towards the Chinese system. If people understood what modern China is really like, the way that we live in America would seem vastly inferior. And they don't want you to know that. So the only way that they can avoid you finding that out is through teaching you to hate that on principle. I'm not curious about learning what it's actually like. If you actually understood what healthcare, education, housing costs, public safety, all of these things are like in China, you would look at our society and be like, what? This is acceptable? Everybody who's been to China and come back to the US will know this. All Chinese people, of course, will know this. It's like you've never even been there and you're not even asking questions. It's just raw judgment, no curiosity, complete misunderstanding.